Hello and welcome to Platteview High School. My name is Nicole Baugh and I am the Director of Public and Community Relations. I wanted to take a moment to just say hello and tell you what a wonderful school you are in, from the staff, students, teachers, your principal. They're amazing. You are absolutely going to love it here. So welcome and have a wonderful back to school.
Mrs. Baugh, she was really instrumental. What a great hire for our district. Our board and Superintendent Richard hired Mrs. Baugh just lately, probably 6 months ago. It was very instrumental in our partnership with Facebook and Google, and some of the things we're doing with those partners, these video boards that we use for all kinds of things, just not athletics. We have plans to do a concert someday virtually with a video board like this, where you come in and watch our band and choir sing on there on a virtual concert. Just different things like that we're going to use instead of just athletics. So just fun things like that. A couple introductions before we really get into this. Mr. McLaughlin, he's our assistant principal and activities director. I'm Ron Alexander, principal athletic director, so we divide that up. So if you're in an activity, cheerleading, band, student council, National Honor Society, FCCLA, activities, ask him any question you want. He loves questions, right? Athletics, football, softball, swimming, all those sports, athletics, come to me and I'll give you every answer I can. Mr. Lundeen, he's our 9th grade counselor in the building. He also teaches social studies. And then we have Mrs. Sabota that you all know from the junior high. You have 2 accesses as far as 2 people to access for 9th grade counseling. Now, I will tell you, Mr. Lundeen's available right here in the building for a couple periods a day. If you need to, you always can see Mrs. Sabota. And you also, at any time, just because Mrs. Christensen is the 10th through 12th grade counselor, doesn't mean you walk up there and go, I'm in 9th grade, I really need to talk to somebody. I can't, it says 10th through 12th, doesn't matter. Whoever's available, you can see any of the counselors. What's awesome for you as a resource, you also have another counselor, Jim Jennings, who's your college and career counselor, which even as freshmen or new students coming in, it's not too soon to start using those resources. So you really have 4 people dialed into that type of thing. Mr. Laird, he's one you know from band. Okay, that's obvious. Standing ovation. Oh, never mind, because I get too close together. All right, so he does assistant activities, assistant athletics. So he just helps us throughout the day navigate all that with supervision and helps us with setup. He runs our concessions. So he's got his hands full doing a lot of different things, band dance, assistant of both of those areas. All right, so our charge for this year, and I told these guys, go for a walk because they heard the same thing last night on like this canned program. They're going to go, oh my gosh, he said all this last night. So if you see them go walk, I instructed them they better get out of here. They might fall asleep or start drooling, and that's a bad time. All right, so I watched this video, and I wanted to show it to you, but it was too long. Denzel Washington was speaking to a group of graduates at graduation at Fordham University. And I love this speech. He was so he's passionate thinking about any movie he's in. He's talking about one of the biggest impacts of his life was learning the difference between falling forward and falling back. And I think that's so appropriate for you as a freshman coming into our building, because you're our next class now. You're class of 2024, and new students. You're going, okay, how do I navigate this? What's this Platteview High School like? And he said one of the things that he really struggled with were all the people around him in his life early on when he was trying to navigate, where am I going? What's my path? Everybody kept saying to him, Denzel, you got to have something to fall back on. Denzel, have something to fall back on. And he started to get crushed by that. He's going, doesn't anybody around me believe in me? They want me to keep falling back, and they just know I'm going to fail. And he made this decision in his life. He said, you know what? I'm going to fail. I know I'm going to fail. But if I fail, I'm going to fall forward. If I screw up, I'm going to screw up really good. I'm going to fall forward, learn from it, get back up. You, each of you, fail this year in one way or another. You may not be homecoming queen. None of you will be because you're not old enough, right? Okay? My biggest drama is I was a high school volleyball coach, PE teacher, and health teacher for a long time, and I had 3 state championship teams. And the biggest drama I ever had, not somebody tore their ACL, not somebody's grandmother passed away. We're on a bus going to Yuma High School in eastern Colorado. If you blink, that was Yuma, right? And commotion in the back of the bus. I thought, oh my gosh, is the engine on fire? What am I going to do? Now the 2 girls in the back were fighting about who got nominated for the homecoming. And we didn't care about the volleyball game. And I'm going, you know what? You wake up tomorrow morning. You won't even remember you were nominated. It's not a big deal. Some of you may not be the lead in the musical this year, but you tried out. It's okay. Some of you get a C on the geometry test. Right? I wasn't good at geometry. I was a rock star in algebra. You throw that geometry and this and this. What? It was hard for me. But do you sulk and pout and say it was the teacher's fault? Do you throw a fit for your parents? Do you make it a nightmare? This COVID stuff, do we just lay down and wallow in our misery? Because it'd be really easy to do. It's exhausting when we do that. Let's fall forward this year. We know we're going to fail sometimes. We know there's no perfect plan in the whole world, no matter what plan anybody creates. I think we have a great plan because you have choices. We're doing everything we can in our power to give you the choice. And what we promise to you, whatever you choose, if you're e-learning, we're going to do a great job for you. If you're going to be here in school, we're going to do a great job for you. If we ever go remote, we're going to do a great job for you. We're committed to doing it. You make this all happen and us all happen. You fund us, you pass in elementary school. If anything deserves a standing ovation, you get one of those because in 2 years you'll be walking by Springfield Elementary downtown and go, we did that. So you have so much to do with this, but we need your help. If we're going to fall forward, you've got to help us because your kids are going to come home sometimes. And they're going to be heartbroken. And here I'm preaching it, I struggle with it sometimes. If my son comes home heartbroken, the first thing I want to do is lash out and go, I got to fix this for him. That doesn't help him. What helps him, or helps your kid, is to say, I'm in your corner. Strap it up. Go try to solve it first. Try to solve it. I know it's hard. You're young. Go try to solve it. And then if you need them here. Let them do the first one. And in many cases, they'll so appreciate it once they get over it. I'm so wanting to empower our kids when they break up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, don't do it in a text. When you quit a team, don't do it in a text. Go face to face with whatever it is and say, I just can't play this sport anymore, or I'm not going to be coming to play practice anymore. I'm telling you as the coach or the teacher, face to face, I'm breaking up with you, face to face, quit taking the easy way out and texting it. Man up, woman up, let's be strong. We're a shining example in Nebraska, and let's do it every day by falling forward. So I won't be on my soapbox much longer, but do that for us. Okay? If it gets hard, reach out to us when you need it because we're going to support you every step of the way. We're going to have some people that go e-learning in person, back to e-learning, back here because they're trying to navigate what's the best decision for them. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Now, one important thing for all the students and their grandparents, we did a grading system last spring where we said, hey, we got to have every assignment handed in to proficiency. And at the high school level, you guys did something a little bit different at the junior high. But at the high school level, we didn't lower our standard one bit. Proficiency every assignment. We had probably 6 or 7 seniors on this tightrope, maybe not graduating, up until the last minute. And we didn't say, we really want a good graduation rate, let's lower the standard. We've met most of it. We said, no, here's the standard. You want to walk across the stage? Meet the standards. Every assignment. Guess how many assignments? We had 107 out of 107. Ooh, that was amazing. 420-ish still have an assignment out now. 11. Isn't that amazing? That 409 students turned in every single assignment to the standard. Now, was that the perfect way to do it? Add 10%, get them all in? Probably not perfect, but it was an emergency. We didn't know this was coming. So the difference this year, wherever you're learning, whether we go fully remote, whether you're e-learning, whether you're in person, the grading system, just like we are here every day. It's the normal grading system. So don't be thinking in your mind, I've got to just hand in everything to proficiency and I get plus 10%. Because if you think about it, what's 0 plus 10%? That's an F. You wouldn't want to do 10% because you haven't earned anything yet. It's the normal grading scale. And the only difference, you guys coming in from the grading scale or the grade policy that you're used to, there's 2 areas, English and science, that we're still in our second year of a pilot program. The normal grading policy is if you do really bad on the test, you get a retake, but there's this cap of how high you can score on the second try. You know that from the grading policy. For the science and English, we want to look at this further. Because what we were seeing is not very many people doing retakes. We started this pilot program last year that said, let's give them a retake and take the best score. Because think about your driver's test. How many of you? Nah, we won't make you resend since it's my big person. How many of you had cocky kids that walked in? I don't need to look at that book. Walk in and fail the first time. When you pass the driver's test, does it have a little asterisk on the license that said, this thing took 3 times to pass it? Asterisk. No, they get a driver's license. They want to know, what does this person know before they drive a car? So what we're trying to say in English and science going, if you got a 92 and you're committed to trying to get 100, let's give you the 100. If you got a 2 and you get 100, we're giving you the 100. Now, it's not free. Let's say you bomb a test, 56. You have to take it within 2 weeks. In order to get the retake, you have to go in for intervention, because what we don't want to have happen is just keep trying and say, I'm not really going to study on this. It's like the lottery. We'll see if I get lucky someday. No, you got to earn it. And if you don't do it within 2 weeks, then you don't get the retake. But what we found, instead of 10 or 15 or however many usually would come in and do a retake a whole year under the grading policy, we saw about 158, 159, something like that, people doing retakes in the pilot program because they were going, it's worth it to me to put in the intervention time to be able to score higher. And we saw grades going up because of it. So what we have to look at in the end is, should we expand that or should we stay with the normal grading policy, but in science and English, take advantage of those 2 things. Okay? Let me go stand and listen, track my thoughts after all that. I'm going to try to be fast for you. Here's things that we believe about our school. There's about 7 things. We want to be welcoming and inclusive. Are those 2 things more important than ever in our current world? Oh my goodness. When your student comes here, whoever you're going to vote for in November doesn't matter to us. Where you live. If you're rich, whether you're poor, it doesn't matter. Welcoming and inclusive, doesn't matter. If you jump in the back of a pickup truck and act silly in the parking lot, you're going to get suspended. Whether you're Brett Richards' daughter, Brett Richards' son, my son, rich student, poor student, I don't know you student yet, because I haven't heard your name. I know you because you're my neighbor. We hold everybody to the same standard. Welcoming and inclusive. And you're a part of that. This is a big message that we haven't conquered totally yet, and you see it in every school in the United States. I guarantee it. Here's what most people do if they see something that's not right. Okay? Something's going on here where you're giving a person grief about something you probably did on the way here because you didn't get McDonald's or whatever it was, right? You're giving her some grief about something and we see it. 99% of our kids would walk up and go, that's not right, I'm not getting involved in that, and then keep walking. They did the right thing to a degree, right? They didn't get involved, they're not the ones doing right? They would just move on about their day. Here's the shift we're trying to get them to do. I want to do something about it. I'm going to get off the sideline. It doesn't mean run over there, rip off your shirt, you have Superman or Superwoman on your shirt, and you say, push everybody out of the way, and you're suspended. I'm solving this. Mr. Alexander said solve it. That may not be you, that probably would help, but it's really simple, even. Here's how to fix it. I'm walking by, I see it's not right. Mr. Dutcher's right here. Mr. Dutcher, you should go down 2 doors. Something's going on. See that? My mom's picky. I love picky basketball. It's fixed. Mr. Dutcher now is alerted to there's an issue. We can intervene. You don't have to be, I told on somebody, it's anonymous. Tips line is anonymous. Let us know so we can fix it. Because here's the thing that a parent called me one time and said, I hear you talk about you don't allow mowing in your school. Okay? We don't allow anybody to know about it. If we think that 420 students are going to walk through the front door every day that are perfect and never do things wrong, if that ever happens, we're all going to retire because we've hit the big jackpot, and I don't know anywhere else in the world that has that happen. There's imperfect going on all around, and we're all a part of it. Things are going to happen that are wrong. Help us, because if the conversations at the end of the year, I wish you'd have done something about this because it happened. If we don't know about it, we never can. Help us. It can be anonymous. Even if we know you said something, you think I'm going to go up to the person and say, hey, Susie just told me that you were missing on. Well, that's not going to help Susie. You're going to be mad at her and it's going to spread. I can fix it without saying anything. I say, I heard there's a problem. Let's fix it. So help us with that. The other thing is we want to be alcohol, tobacco, and vape free. Have anybody seen that commercial with the girls where they are taking the vape thing out of the toilet? Have you seen that commercial? That grosses me out. They said that's how addicting the vape products are becoming. Is this girl in the bathroom at a high school is digging through the toilet just so that she can have a little bit of a hit off of her vape. And I read today, the kids that are regular vapors are 60% more likely to contract COVID-19, is what I heard today. Don't do the vaping. Don't do that. That's something that you don't want to get involved in. It's not good for you. I remember when I was growing up, it was the big tobacco companies that were trying to get us all hooked to cigarettes, and now there's a whole new generation trying to get kids hooked on that. Stay away from that, okay? Don't be into the vaping stuff. Celebrate differences and variabilities. What I love about Platteview High School is we think that a drum major is just as important as a starting quarterback. We have such incredible programs here all the way around. Our senior class that just graduated was a part of 12 conference championships while they were here. And those conference championships were spread across everything. Play production, okay? Basketball, volleyball championships in there. Track, they would have won probably another track one if we would have had track last spring. But it was across everything. We want all of our programs to be successful. We started esports last year, and they were all in on that. Our swimming team that's calling me from Bellevue East, the Bellevue East coaches tell us that our kids that go over there make their program go. And we're just a part of their program. And then we started last year with girls tennis over there. So there's a lot of stuff that for you to get involved in here, get involved in. Find something to do. If you're not in any activity, find something. There is something for you. Alright? I'm going to keep moving. I'm sorry, I'm Gabby. We want you to be responsible citizens. We want you to be your self-advocate. And we want you to be honest, places, and here are them. Now, we're in a different time. There are no attendance penalties and awards this year. So, because here's what we don't want to have happen. Mom, when you have 101 temperature, but you're trying for this perfect attendance award, and mom's flipping your foot in your back and pushing you out of the car because she wants you to you to see you have that certificate. We want you to stay home when you have 101 temperature. Because we want to stay open in our schools as long as we can and as often as we can. And if you think that you're sick, stay home. Or if you have a fever, stay home. There are no attendance awards this year. We can't have them. Because then we're encouraging people to be tough out. We told the teachers the same thing. We told our teachers, don't go look into the mirror and you got a little bit of a fever. You can take some time on and get through it because you want to do it for your kids. We're going to end up shutting down your classroom for 14 days if you do that. Make sure you're healthy before you come to school. Okay? And one thing I have to have our current plan. I want to show you that real quick. I'm losing my focus. I woke up at 2:30 and my mind was racing because I was so excited to see it tonight. And I just couldn't stop. So I'm losing it a little bit here. Hold on. When you look at the Springdale Platteview website and you're going, what color are we? Did we go to orange? Are we still in yellow? Because it's been a break. Maybe it's Labor Day weekend and you're going, I heard on the news that there's more cases here, less cases here. All you look is that banner that says current instructional level, and that banner will change colors to yellow, green, all the colors of our plan. Now here's what I thought initially. You need not think this still. I thought that we went strictly by what the Sarpy County little arrow thing said. Remember when I'm on like 1.88? I was going, oh my gosh, does that mean we're almost to the orange plan? So I go running into Mr. Richards and I say, are we close to the orange plan? He goes, that's one major that we look at because what he works with Sarah Schramm on at the health department. That meter is talking about Sarpy County, the whole county, what's going on in the county. If that arrow goes up, Brett meets with Sarah, talks to everybody there and says, okay, let's look, they have a GIS system that can overlay how many cases are affecting our population. And they look at that specific area. Now we draw from a lot of different areas, but they can look at it tighter, and then Sarah Schramm, Brett Richards, and the board have to say, should we switch or not? Sarpy County might be orange, we might be yellow. Sarpy County might be yellow, we might be orange. Beatrice in our new conference, Trailblazer Conference, we're talking about capacity and athletic events this year. What should we do? How many spectators should we allow? How can we make sure we socially distance? Beatrice says, we're not going to think about capacity limits real hard because we have 0 cases in Beatrice. In the same conference, Ralston is going, boy, when fans come to Ralston, they have to wear masks because they're in the city of Omaha. Everybody. You can't come watch your kid play if you don't wear a mask. You can't come in the door. Plattsmouth. You walk up, you have to do your temperature before you go watch your kid play at Plattsmouth. So you're going to see a million different things this year. And so just remember, if your kids play any sports or activities, we're going to put a little thing on our website, not just the plan that we're on, but we're going to put a little thing on our website to say, here are the road games this week. Here are the rules you're going to see, because here's what we don't want to have happen. Our first football game is down in Fall City. Can you imagine if Alex Draper's grandpa drove to Fall City and is scrolling up there and they're only allowing 2 people, the immediate parents of the kids there, and he just drove 2.5 hours to Fall City? That's not fair to him. He'd be yelled at and probably swearing once or twice, and I don't blame him because he just drove. We're going to alert you before we go there. We're going to have our coaches communicate, here's what's expected of these places. Okay? Wahoo did something interesting. Wahoo said, we're going to have all of our athletes, even in competition, wear masks 100% of the time. So you're going to see Wahoo in volleyball, every kid on the court will have a mask on. You're going to see Wahoo in cross country, every kid in cross country is going to have a mask on. You're going to have some other schools look at it and go, I didn't think that was healthy to do that when you're exerting with a mask on. So you're going to have different views in the world. We just have to say, what are the rules where we're going? The NSAA says we're moving forward with fall activities. If you can't proceed, it's a no contest. You don't have to forfeit. You can pull out at any time and say, we have too many cases, we can't come play football. It's not a forfeit. They don't penalize you. You just lose that game and you move on. Fall City moves on. They get a win yellow plan mean? Yellow plan currently means that we are 100% in school operating that on the block schedule. Okay, the block schedule that I sent out shows you. One day you have first through fourth period, fifth through eighth period the next day. And how it works is if it's Monday, schedule 1 day, Tuesday, schedule 5, snow day, what's Friday? Schedule 1. Just whatever's the next day in the rotation, so that if we have a couple snow days, we don't just say, well, we're just going to say color code the calendar on these days. You might go a week without your class if you did it that way. So it's whatever the next day is. And we're going to do stuff at school all the time on TVs out there. His kids will be going, schedule 1, schedule 5, I'm sleeping. So they'll say on the TVs and everything, this is schedule 5 days, so they know to go to the period. You guys are the first. See how quickly things change. And I have an announcement for you that your friends don't even know. Alright, so this is, hold on, this is dramatic, right? Study hall. If you have first period study hall, or fourth period study hall, or fifth period study hall, or eighth period study hall, you can do your study hall from home and then come to the first period. You don't have to do study hall at school. Now here's what I'm telling you. We have a study hall teacher sitting there that will help support you and you have a quiet place to do. If you want your student here to do study, it's open. But if you say, you know what, that'll help us, that'll be good because then I don't have to get her there then or get him there then, you can do your study hall from home. The kicker is, at progress report time, we review that. If you have any B's or F's, or if you have ICUs that are outstanding, you lose that privilege of being able to not come to school for your study hall. Now, freshmen, most freshmen will probably come to the study hall, but that's your call again. You have the choice. If they don't have a whole lot going on, that's your choice. They don't have to be at the study hall. And I'll send out more about that, but you've got the hot news on the press on that one. Other thing that means on yellow, it means there's three reasons that we can tell you that you have to wear a mask. Do you know number one? When would we tell you you have to wear a mask? That's what you get for sitting in front, or what? Yes! I wish I had a sucker for that, because that's a great transition in the hallway. So if you're on the move, you come in the doors, and you're going to your first period class, you have to have a mask on. If you're going from first period to second period, you have to have a mask on. If you're going to second period to lunch, you have to have a mask on. If you're going from first period to the bathroom, you have to have a mask on. No matter how many people are in the hallways, you have to have a mask on. Because those are narrower than other places in the school. You're going to pass through narrow areas, mask on. Second one is any school-provided transportation. And I'm sorry, a lot of this is so much information. I want you to hear it tonight instead of Tuesday. If you're on a school bus or in a school van going anywhere, you have to have a mask on. Okay? The third one is, if you can't social distance with a teacher and they say, please put your mask up because I'm coming inside your bubble. Okay? Or that same thing of if for some reason you two students have to work within that social distance bubble where you have to stand up and work and face each other, you would have to put your mask on. So just those situations right there. If we go to orange, the only thing that changes is masks are required full-time in the orange plan, and that we would go to a 50-50 model that goes orange. So let me explain that one real quick. It's kind of, this is what we're thinking, it's not formal yet. You would go 2 days in school, where you're in school 2 days with the hybrid 50-50, and 2 days you would be doing the e-learning. And so which days we're still working on that, 2 days each way, and 1 day would be a work day intervention day for the teachers if that model passes. Otherwise it would be 3-2 or something like that. There would be so many days in school, so many days e-learning. If it goes red, what does it mean? Remote. The plug is full. So know the difference between e-learning and remote learning. Remote learning is what we did fourth quarter. Nobody's here. E-learning is people are here and people are at home, both are learning different ways. E-learning. If we have to go home for 2 days, we'll remote learn for 2 days. Because maybe we get shut down for 2 days. That's remote because nobody's here. So know the difference e-learning and remote. If it goes green, what do we do? Party! We're going to have a dance for parents and kids. The day that happens, are we going to be excited? And I'm going to do that microvirus, parking the USA dance. You all freak out and go home and say, I wish the coronavirus was back. I don't want to see that. Okay, so it'll be crazy when that happens. Resources for you as a student. We already talked about all that. We introduced everybody. Lunch is important here because we had some parents freaking out already, right? You have to have assigned seats at lunch. That's not our rule, that's the health department rule. Because the health department says if we have a positive case, we have to be able to work backwards and say who was sitting by who when. Now, we're not crazy. I know there's some rumors that I'm really tough and grouchy all the time, right? There's some rumors about that. I don't care who you sit with. You're going to pick that. I'm not assigning you. I don't even know who your friends are. So you'll get a link. Either tomorrow or Monday at the latest. Do it on time. It's going to say, here are all the tables. It's going to be like that you're reserving seats at Creighton Arena. It's going to be saying, here's the people on your lunch. Pick 3 of you sit at a table. If there's 4 people at that table, fill out that table. If that table's full, start filling up another. You control it. Now do this. If you go, oh my goodness, all my friends might be in a different lunch and you're struggling, I don't know, some of those people, call us and we'll hook you up to help you because that might be hard, especially new students are going, I don't know who to pick from. Just do this. Those of you that know people. Okay, this is kind of funny, but you watch, it's going to happen. Alright? If your BFF or your boyfriend, I love her, she's my dream mode, we're sitting at the same table, you break up 3 days later, guess what? She's your exit table because you can't switch until the next 4-day break. Okay, so we're going to work on getting along and being inclusive at that table. Okay, I know you have issues, pass me the ketchup. I can't believe you did this, pass me the mustard. You're stuck for 4 days until we can switch because we can't cross groups. I know it's crazy, but I told you that's kind of crazy, but you watch. I'll send out a code word when it happens on my daily blurb. I'll put something like burrito. And you know, why did we start the sentence with burrito? I love burritos. But you'll go, Sunday, work up at the table, and you can laugh. Okay, so that's what it's all about. Exercise. Reopening plan, we already learned that. Max V's already talked about that. Disinfection process. We're asking our teachers to do a lot. At the end of every class, they're going to kids get up, they're going to do an activity or socially distant, and then the teachers have to get all that stuff clean because there's a new group coming in. Okay? When you've got a 5-minute pass to go walk your lap. You have one-way arrows in the hallways. If you want, when you leave here and you haven't seen it, go do a little lap. Follow the arrows. They're important. Even though I think Mike said Mrs. Johnson and Mrs. Ortiz or something are like 3 steps apart, but you have to do about a 500-yard dash to go to that part. You have 5 minutes, right? And this is the bet we're going to do. I bet these ding-dongs that I could crawl from the Spanish room to Mr. Kersalov's room in 5 minutes, and if I do that, I get a blizzard. I'll do anything for a blizzard. So I might have skinned up knees, but I swear I could go there if I could. If I'm a kid in the classroom, and I've just listened to a teacher for 90 minutes, I don't want to go 3 steps the wrong way. I need mediation. I want to walk a long time and get my head out of that room, and then now to the next group. You need a walk. You need some exercise. It'll be okay. 5 minutes, you have plenty of time. Don't freak out about, why do I have to go clear around there? Because that's what the arrow is saying. Okay? I wish I'd put this closer. Excuse me, talking about that. Visitors. Because we normally, one thing that's so awesome about Springfield is we love to get together, we love to get community, we love to just come, parents come to the school all the time, we love that. This year there were all types of change during our current environment. We can't have any drop-in parents coming in. You can't come and say, I need to go talk to my kid unless it's this huge emergency, right? We can't have, because our secretarial staff and our office staff has to screen everybody that comes to the door before they come in. We don't have the manpower to have all these parents just come. If you need something, let us know. Schedule an appointment. You can come anytime to talk about stuff. Just don't show up the door. Especially don't do this, because we have some people that do this sometimes. Come in with a bag full of runs. It's that Temperature Tuesday business, and I'm dropping them off. Not this year just because we can't navigate that. Because what would have to happen before we give everybody the lenses that you have? One, you can't share food. So that couldn't work. The other one is, before you got to drop off your daughter's runs up, we'd have to ask you your temperature, all these questions about if you broke up with the ex, all that stuff at the table, and all those questions, we don't have time to do all that. Save the runs that we couldn't do. You can't bring us that much. Second major announcement is, we usually, one of the great things is we have all the microwaves. We're not allowed to use the microwaves right now, because if we did, we would have to disinfect the microwave after every sandwich. The famous one out there is popcorn. They love to do the bag of popcorn with whatever, like pizza popcorn, French toast sticks popcorn. The microwaves aren't available, so don't bring frozen food unless you like it crispy. All right? I'm telling you, delivering schedule an appointment, calling, close. Student arrival, that's a big one. Again, we're a community. We like to have our kids here a long time. We would have students here last year from 6:15, 6:30 in the morning. Anthony would be out there studying, to a group of kids that studying math together at 9:30 at night, waiting for the musical practice to be done. We've had kids here that whole time. That's what we love. This year we can't do that. When you get here as close as you can to the bell without being tardy. Get here as close as you can, because when you get here, you have to go follow the arrows to your first class and go take your seat in that class. And you don't want to sit in the teacher's room from 6:30 till the time the class starts. Don't have them come at 6:30. No one's going to be there. The door's going to be locked. Get them here close enough where it's timely to get in, and we come in waves, we come in, we get there, go sit your first desk, do some homework, be ready to go for your first class. When school's over, it's not that we're rude and don't like kids. We have to get you out of here after 15 minutes after school's out or your activity's done. Football game's over when we play our first game. 15 minutes after the game, everybody's got to go home because we can't congregate. That's going to be the hard. Teachers are more stressed about how are we going to keep kids away from each other. Cover your ear, boys. Freshman boys. Oh my goodness, I had one of those last year. They touch each other, they have to be in this pack and poke each other, and poke. We have to stop the poking this year. Okay, you gotta go along, stop the poking, because you can't be that close. So we're gonna have our hands full. But we're up for it. Attendance, I talked about that. ICU program. If you don't know what the ICU program is, ICU program is we have a system. If you don't turn in good work on time, you're going to get beat. And what that is the guy that invented it, or the people that invented it, were tired educators that say, how do we get kids to do all their homework and do it on time? Quality work the first thing, because that's so vital. How do we do that? Well, they looked at how did the United States get people to wear seatbelts. They put that annoying beep in there, and I want to take my new pickup. If you don't hear it the first time, because I was trying to find it and it gets faster and things start blinking, I'm like, oh my goodness. Alright? But I'm going to wear my seatbelt every time because it's beeping every single time. And so if you don't turn in an assignment, your parents are going to get a beep. You're going to get a beep that says, hey, get that in. Okay? And it's not anything bad, it's just get it in. Now, here's a quick story. I hope it's none of you because you can't remember who did this. Alright? Somebody called me the first year we did ICU, and they worked at night. Okay? So they're sleeping during the day. Their kid, guess what? Had a lot of beeps going on. So they kept getting woke up, and he was lighting me up. What's the stupid thing getting me off this beep? I said, slow down. What's the issue here? The beep? Or the BB? Tell the BB to hand in their work. You don't get any beeps. It's a novel concept. Okay? 3 years later now, our kids just hand this up all the time. And it's making them better students. We're just asking you to do your best. Let's say you're doing a piece of homework or a test or a worksheet and you don't know the answer, you want to leave it blank. Explain to the teacher why you don't know. Why would that be handy? Because then the teacher goes, I should have taught that better. Maybe I need to review this. Maybe I should do this with it. I know you're trying, but you didn't know the answer. They're not going to throw it back at you, they're going to help you. So you get those beats, email and text to tell you that. Our students came to us and said, okay, we get the beats, okay, we're used to it now, we get the philosophy, let's change this. They came to us with this idea. If we have less than 3 beats, leave us alone. Don't make us go to intervention. Don't hook us up with somebody to help us with our homework, because some of us homework budget. And we're like, what's homework budget mean? I have AP calculus, I have advanced math, I have AP physics, I have U.S. history dual credit. I can't have everything in at the same time. I know those are due. I'll get to them later. I got to make this in because this is worth more points. Okay, now I'm going to get back. If I have 2 or less, or 3 or less, leave me alone. And so we said, that's great. And what we saw is kids would do that really well. They'd make those 2 disappear on their own. We don't need to bug them. Now, if you get above 3, we're coming at you with help. We're saying, let's fix it, let's fix it, let's fix it. If you get above 6, we're throwing in lifeguards and preservers. We're throwing it at you because we're coming in. We're going to have you come on Saturday. We're going to catch you back up because we can't have you with 6. Because 6 turns into 12, turns into 15. Our ICU program at the end of the semester usually comes down to 12 kids that have thousands of assignments out because they're checking out kind of like, we're going after them. So don't be 6 or more, don't be 3 or more. Okay, that's the ICU program. Tardies. If you walk in late to class, okay, you can't even participate in class until you go to the kiosk. It's like you're at Baskin Robbins. You go up, put your lunch coat in, and spits out a receipt that it says, this is your whatever tardy, this is your consequence, go to class, that's your pass, and this is what happens on the next one. So don't go to the kiosk, be on time, get plenty of time. I told the story last night, and I think it's so speaks to my wife Joanna went for UNO, where she would mow the lawns out at UNO. She would always laugh a little bit because she'd say, guess what the job requirement said is my education level that I needed for this job? It said 8th grade education. And she goes, well, I made 8th grade, I'm going to do it, doesn't pay very well. Guess what her speech was on day 1 for a job that said 8th grade education? You can be tardy once, the second time you're late, they didn't say tardy, it's in schoolwork. But second time you're late, go mow lawns for some other college because it won't be here. We're hearing that from all employers. We need our people here on time. We need them off of their cell phones and focusing on their job. We're going to help you do that. Cell phones, okay? Out of sight, out of sound. We have one of our kindest, sweetest girls. I was in the class watching a teacher. I see Lisa, she's starting. I can narrow that down to about 3 because I probably heard the story or something. Her backpack was because she had it on vibrate. And the backpack's vibrating, and I go, XXX, that's her name. XXX. Give me your cell phone. It's not ringing. And did I hear it? Your backpack is like bouncing towards me. That's distracting to the class. I need your cell phone at the end of the day. It never happened again because that disrupts the class, right? Good kid, honest mistake. It has to be silent and out. If you leave it on your desk, you lose it for the day. Out of ready to have a baby and it's any minute and mom needs to tell you, I will go sit by you, and as soon as she's born, I will tap you on the shoulder and we'll go right scream around the hallway in the right direction with the arrows that your sister just had made. We'll figure it out. But you can't have yourself on her. And the teachers will just take it. Second time or third time it happens, you gotta come pick it up. I know I told Ben, I said, the first time I have to pick it up and I work here, you don't have my cell phone anymore. You better start working with the company string idea because you ain't got my cell phone. If I have to come pick up your phone, that's embarrassing. And we had a parent have to take off of his shift, clock out, come pick the cell phone. And when I logged, he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at his kid and he fixed it and the kid never did it again. And that's how you can help us. If you reinforce it with and help us and support us, we're going to do great things. We're getting close. Alright. We're going to beat last night. Last night was an hour and we want to beat it. Water bottles. Does anybody have a water bottle? Shoot. You got one? Okay, that one is clear for sure, right? That's clear. Does anybody have like a blue one or anything? Gosh, you guys, I should. Okay, that's not clear. I can't see through it. You know the ones that are tinted blue? If you can see through the water bottle, it doesn't have to be white. It has to be clear. Clear water bottle. Now during sports practices, you can have that. That's what I would have if I was playing football or cross country because you're supposed to bring your own personal water bottle even to sports this year. Bring the biggest one possible. Bring a rain barrel if that's what you bring in a football practice. Bring it. It doesn't have to be clear in practice. At school, clear water. Food and drink. We're going to let the teachers make that call. Sometimes when you look at Monday's lunch schedule, if you have the late lunch, the third lunch, you don't eat till 1:10. That's a bad draw on Monday. But you don't get here till 9:10. Eat a late breakfast. We're going to let you have food and drink in the classroom. Our new Trojans that you see out there in the class, they're going to start a delivery service after Labor Day that you can pre-order some food and they'll bring it around to your classrooms. The only rules with food and drink this year, if your teacher doesn't allow it, like Mrs. Layer, probably won't let you have food and drink in there because it would get in the keyboards. But if your teacher says it's okay, as long as you keep that room clean, we're good. We're working with some tough conditions this year. Just don't share it. And this is hard for us as parents too. I can't bring a box of granola bars and give them out to all my friends. If you bring food, it's for you. And my son would say, I don't like apple. Ethan, do you want this apple thing? And he'd probably eat it. You can't share food or drink. Okay, make sure of that. Hats and hoods. The signs up there, we have such a great student body. We do this about once or twice a year. Can you believe that? If you told some schools that you don't know how hats or hoods, they would fall over and say, are you kidding me? We'd never get away with that. Our kids would never do it. Our kids respect that. When you come to the building, you don't have a hat on, you don't have a hood on. Bandanas have to be school appropriate. Okay? Bandanas, what did I just say? Slapping. Masks have to be, no bandanas are allowed. It has to be a mask, okay, and school appropriate. Can't have a marijuana leaf on your mask. That'll get you a new mask, and it's the ugly one that I wear that is just disposable. I throw it away all the time. I like those because the cotton ones are too hot for me. So you pick your mask, just make it say the right thing. If you say on there, Mr. Alexander's a clown, you might get away with that because it's not profane. We probably wouldn't be BFFs at the same table, okay? But I probably wouldn't have to leave either. Okay, help us with the shirts and everything, just make it. Let's get along. Let's get along. Any other discipline things I forgot? He's just going to say going, but if it's not true, he wants to go home. He's ready. We've been there a long time. We're getting there. Rachel's challenge. I've got about 5 minutes left and I'll get out of here. My bedtime is here. Rachel's challenge. Rachel Scott was the first person that was shot at Columbine High School. She was one of the kindest, most sweetest girls that you would ever meet. Her father talks about her. Rachel's challenge is all about her. And what's interesting about her, they couldn't have picked a more kind, caring, reach out to any kid person in the whole school, and they picked her first. her dad, I wouldn't have the strength to do this. Her dad, all the posters you see in our hallways came from her diary. Her dad said, I'm going to do something with this because she would have reached out to those two boys and she would have brought them in and said, I love you, let's solve this. That's who Rachel Scott was. So we're going to invest in that program and we're going to work hard about this. So you're going to hear some messages. We're going to have a Friends of Rachel Club, which is we're going to ask for 56 volunteers. Okay? So 13 or 14 of them will be freshmen. That you want to help us do things with it. Because what we want to do in our school is this. We want to quit saying let's be kind and wearing shirts around that say be kind and put those shirts on and do something about it. We had a kid say the best thing is I want to be in that Rachel's Club. And here's what I think. You have mentors for new teachers, right? I don't know, where is he going with this? This guy's intense for a summer break. He said, let's have mentors for new students. And I go, boom, he's on right. We got one member, we've got 55 spots left. If you're interested in that, let me know. Because I want people I want to make us all better people and help people just accept others. And I'm goofy as all. If you accept me, I'll accept you. If you're goofy in some ways, you just want to right? So we'll get along well. Alright, Mr. McLaughlin, he likes Notre Dame. That's really goofy. He didn't even say anything. He is tired. If you're more than 15 minutes away from late to a class, it counts as a target. An absence, not a target. So you can't say, well, I'm tardy, so I'm going to stroll around and look at the ladies, and I'll just get there when I get there because they got a tardy anyway. You can now be absent, unexcused absent. So if you're tardy, get there and get it done, right? Okay, last one. Good questions. NSAA activities. I got questions last night. Big Ten canceled all their sports. What the NSAA going to do? The NSAA, Jay Beller, he's their executive director here, was basically his quote. In essence, was we didn't decide to do fall sports because the Big Ten was doing sports. We're not going to cancel our activities because the Big Ten decided to, because that Big Ten has nothing to do with this. We're talking huge stadiums traveling across the country. The NSAA is saying we're going to try to operate Nebraska activities in what we can. We know we're going to get some interruptions, maybe somebody can't play a game, but let's try to do something for our kids because the Wisconsin study is a great study of it. Wisconsin did this study of what happened last spring to Wisconsin teens when you took all that stuff away and they had to just be isolated all the time. And it was really hard on them. You should look at that study sometime. And they're going, we need each other. We need to do things together. We have great weight training experience. And here's what's cool about what we did with that weight training experience. We were allowed to go up to 25 kids in the weight room at a time. And we said we can't do it. Let's do one kid per rack, because then one kid touches everything, we can clean it. Then the next kid will come in on the next weight. And we stuck to that. We didn't have any positive cases the whole summer in the weight room because our coaches would come here at 6:30 in the morning and left here after the alumni group at 8:45. They said we'll do that the whole summer to make sure kids are safe in the weight room. That's what you have to look forward with your teachers. They are stressed a little bit because they're for you. They're thinking of you going, okay, they're going to think I don't care because I'm standing back, but I care. They're going to think that all I'm thinking about is spraying this down. They're spraying it down because you may be coming to that's next. If you can, walk up to them and say, I'm going to say it 6 feet away, but thank you so very, very much. Because if you say thank you to a teacher, that makes them go the rest of the whole week with this energy because they know that they're being recognized for all that they're doing. They're going to be teaching in the classroom and e-learning at the same time. That's hard. They're doing a lot of work for you. So just thank them. Don't bring them brownies. Not till we're back to normal. When we're green, bring them brownies or something. But I appreciate all of you. I hope you have a great school year. Are there any questions I can answer as a whole group? Go see the arrows. Drive safe. Have a good night. Have a better weekend. We'll see you